Once again, it's the 0 to 100 podcast. I'm your host, William Walker Jr. And now we have reached the time where we have the segment that I like to call What Am I Watching? This is the entertainment portion where I go into a little spoilery, minor reviews of the various TV shows that I might be currently taking a look at, or some movies that I've recently watched. Um, this time I'm gonna actually get us started a little different. And I'm gonna get it started a little different in regards to what I've been watching. Give a little review here. First up is the NBA Finals. The NBA Finals between the New York Knicks and the San Antonio Spurs, where the Knicks are now, after Friday, up 2-0 against the Spurs. I just want, like, I'm only going into this because it's been pretty good. The first two games have been pretty entertaining. I will say, even though the outcome that is the results that are going on right now, I'm not a fan of. I'm a big time Detroit. Well, I'm a Detroit Pistons fan. I will say, and I've said this before. When it comes to sports, I was very upset that the Pistons didn't make it to the finals. I mean, one, it was a shock because I didn't think they were going to be that good. Like just the year before, they had finally actually had a winning season where they actually won a playoff series before they lost to the Knicks in 6 games. And so I will say I was disappointed that they didn't get the opportunity to take on the Knicks. I don't know if they would have beat the Knicks. I think they would have. I would love to say they would put up a better fight than the Cavs that got steamrolled by the Knicks and they lost to the Cavs in 7 games. But anyway, the point is, I did not. I haven't been rooting for the Knicks, and in fact, honestly, I thought that the winner of the NBA Finals was going to be the winner of the Western Conference Finals. I thought OKC was going to win. Maybe if they didn't have injured starters, they possibly could have. But all props and credit to the San Antonio Spurs for getting there, especially ahead of schedule. And these guys are really young, led by Victor Wembanyama. But it was funny because Kevin Garnett took a lot of heat in regards to the social media streets when he came out and was very critical of Victor Wembanyama, his being super emotional after beating the Thunder in Game 7 and getting to the NBA Finals. And I at first, like, this is one of those things where you see the reaction from others before you actually see the actual clip. And so I was seeing like people's reacting and being real critical of KG and they was talking about him. And then I actually saw the clip, and I should have probably queued it up, but it's not hard to find. You can find it. But I saw the clip and I listened to it, and I was a little surprised at people. Well, actually, nothing surprised me in terms of something on social media that people react negatively to. Like, that shouldn't be a shock. But I kind of agree with KG because I was sitting there thinking, like, yeah, bro, like, you still got 4 more games to try to win the championship. And yes, clearly you put a lot into it. It's a Game 7. You guys, had to win Game 6, and then you came back and won Game 7 in Oklahoma. Yeah, you could be hyped and fired up for it, but there is still more to do. And for them to come out, they lost Game 1, and then to come back, like, they had a great comeback in Game 2 where they were down by 14. They went on this great run to tie up the game, and then they had an opportunity to win the game, and Wembanyama turns the ball over by hitting Castle in the back, who wasn't even looking for the ball, and then Brunson gets it, and Wembanyama fouls him, puts him on the line. Brunson makes 1 of 2, and so you're only down by 1. So next bucket will win you this game. And Wembanyama had a great look at it, and he just missed. He flat out missed. So it happens. And yet, so like now you're down 2-0, and it does feel like the Knicks are possibly going to sweep them, which is crazy because all year long there was no point in time during the regular season that I looked at the Knicks and felt like, oh boy, this is a dominant team that's just going to sweep their way, blowing teams out to the NBA Finals. Especially like again, as a Pistons fan, the Pistons beat them every time they played them. So it just I would have liked to have seen it. I just wanted to see it. But anyway, um, I think KG was right because the Spurs don't look like the same team that was in the Western Conference Finals. They just don't, and it looks like that was their shot. Like it looks like they put all their energy into it. It's almost like how I used to look at teams back in the day when the NFC was on this crazy run of winning the Super Bowls and the games weren't even competitive when they would play the team in the AFC. And you always sit there and think, well, they were just happy to get there. They're just happy to be there. That's sort of what it looks like with the Spurs. Now, I will say this because the other big news that's been coming out is that how Trump is going to be at the NBA Finals on Monday, and it's just more evidence of how this dude has to be the center of attention, has to always be the one that is, like this is the thing that's taking up the news cycle. So I want to interject myself, and I will say there would be something kind of sweet and fitting if Trump forcing himself to try to be there at the finals steals all this positive energy. Because I'm a big superstition sports guy. I do believe in sports jinxes. And if Trump being there would put this jinx on the Knicks because he's rooting for them, and somehow the Spurs come back and win this series, it will be a little delicious. I'm not gonna lie. So the next show that I do want to talk about was Netflix's Man on Fire. This has been out for a while actually, but I'm actually only halfway through through it, and so far I will say it's pretty entertaining. I'm not gonna say like this is actually like the third version of Man on Fire. The original was a film starring Scott Glenn as John Creasy, and the Denzel Washington film where knows Man on Fire, where he played Creasy, was actually like a remake of the original. So this is the third time that this story is being adapted, and this is very different from the Denzel Washington film. Where, like, I mean, again, it's similar where you have uh, this character John Creasy, and he is protecting a young girl, but it's like without giving away or without going like too spoilery here, it's not where he was hired as a um he wasn't hired as a bodyguard for her, but it was he's a again former CIA officer, uh and so now he's taking on this role. So that way is where it's a little different. But this one is starring Yahya Abdul Mateen, who you guys will know from a number of different projects, including most recently Marvel Studios Wonder Man, which I absolutely positively loved. In fact, I don't think I ever did a review of Wonder Man, but if you haven't seen Wonder Man on Disney Plus, check it out. The first season was fantastic, and it actually did get renewed for season 2, which I believe they're currently working on. But he's the action in it. Again, I'm only like halfway through. The action in it is top notch. Like and that's the other thing. Like it's kind of crazy, like how uh I'm watching the variety actor on actors, and I was watching the one with Peter Dinklage and oh god, this is so bad. It was Peter Dinklage and Kit Harington from of course who played Jon Snow and Tyrion on Game of Thrones, and so they were talking about how when before they like Peter Dinklage, who's older than Kit Harington, was talking about like how he was being pitched on Game of Thrones and how TV before was just like TV. Nobody wanted to do TV shows or go to TV, and like that seemed like a lesser tier. It felt like a step down. Where now it almost feels flipped, where TV is now like this prestige platform that all the A-list actors and actresses want to go to, and movies are more like the side thing. Like, at least that's what it feels like. I think that's why streaming is as popular as it is, and why you get so many big time actors now starring in TV shows now, and so I just think the production and the things that people put into TV shows now are right up there with you know yeah, it's right up there with movies, and so this is a really good show, and I've been enjoying it thus far, and so I'm imploring you to go ahead and check out Man on Fire. Don't know if there's going to be a season two. I haven't heard anything yet, but I just know that halfway through it, I'm highly enjoying my experience watching this show. And so speaking of also difference or outliers for TV shows, that brings me to the only like again, there's not a ton of network TV shows that I watch. Like most of the TV shows that I watch are either on like Disney Plus or Netflix or HBO Max, Amazon Prime. Like those are primarily where I'm watching my TV shows. But I will say on ABC. Like ABC has some really like they have two of the shows that I watch more than anything from network TV, which is Abbott Elementary and Will Trent. Which I came into Will Trent late. Like in fact, it had already been out for I want to say 3 seasons. Like no, it might have been. Well, it doesn't matter. This was season 4 that just concluded recently, and I had binged because I didn't watch season 1, and I can't even remember how I got onto it. My parents have always been big fans of the show, and I think maybe that's why I was hesitant because me and my parents don't seem to like the same kind of stuff. But and I just thought it was just a regular old cop procedural, and I've seen one, you've seen them all, and it is definitely cop procedural, but the way that they tell the stories and the way this character is done is actually very well done, and it's just highly entertaining. Like I said, they just wrapped up season 4. I am going to get a little spoilery here, and so you did have like at the very beginning of this season where his arch nemesis, one of his arch nemesis was killed in a by the end of this one storyline. You're like, oh man, they killed off his arch nemesis, and you're like, well, this isn't any good. And then later, you come to find out that that character had a daughter who now has become Will's arch nemesis, and then you're like excited about that, and that was a good storyline. But the one thing I will say, and I'm going to be spoiler here, but if you watch Will Trent, even if I spoil this one thing, you should still watch it because this was actually spoiled for me. The one character, Amanda Wagner, who is Will Trent's boss, who is played by the Wire alum Sonia Sohn, and I'm probably mispronouncing her name, but Sonia Sohn, who played Amanda Wagner, her character was actually killed off towards the end of the season, and you're like, what? No, it's just like that was that was like very upsetting to me, and I knew it was happening because, like, again, I'm on social media a lot, and I knew it was spoiled, and so I was just like, oh man, how did that, like, how did it happen? How did she go out? And it was brutal. It was just it was a little upsetting to me how she went out. Uh, but they did catch the people that did it. They got justice for her. But it was also kind of sad because she's been such a really cool character and a great character for the show, and especially like Will's de facto mom, and because he's a very tragic character. His mom was killed when he was born, and he was the killer actually dumped him in the trash, so he was literally found in the garbage, and so that's always played into his psyche and how he is, and he was you know taken through the system, and not every parent was good in the system, so he was abused and all kinds of crazy stuff. But he grew up to become this great cop and or detective, and so it's just a really well done show. The mysteries are good. There's it's it's compelling television, and it's like it's also very moving. But this dude be going through the ringer, and so this past season 4 was no joke. It was brutal. Like there was some other like there's some character deaths in this past season that I didn't spoil the other one. even though that was actually also spoiled for me as well. But it's I'm not gonna spoil that one for you. But check out Will Trent. It's a very good show. Um, and I enjoy it. I'm looking for, and it was already renewed, so it's not like because sometimes that was one of the things that's like I've noticed with TV shows a lot. It's hard to get into stuff sometimes because you are enjoying it and you like it, and then next thing you know they cancel it. Like I'm still very angry that they canceled the After Party, which is on Apple TV. It only got 2 seasons, and oh man, if you like whodunits and mysteries, and it was funny, still you should still watch it. Like even though it's only 2 seasons, it's not like it ends on a cliffhanger or anything that or you be like, oh, what I need to know what happens. They are very self-contained and it's highly entertaining. And so maybe if a lot of people still continue to watch it, maybe they'll bring it back at some point because that's one of the other big things that people like to do is they'll bring back shows. But that brings me to the final show that I thoroughly enjoyed, and this is Spider Noir. It's on Amazon Prime. They did something really cool with this. It stars Nicolas Cage. Like speaking of a list, well, I can't say Nick Cage is a list anymore, but he's a big time Hollywood actor, and I still like Nick Cage, even though he'll do some crazy projects. Man, he will do some wild stuff, but he is. This show is really really good. Like I do love this show. It's very entertaining. It surprised me at how much I enjoyed it. I mean, one, I'm a big Spider-Man fan, period. But Nicolas Cage actually played Spider Noir in the animated film across the or Into the Spider Verse, Spider-Man Into the Spider Verse, which was the first and the Miles Morales animated trilogy that's going to be coming out. Yeah, that's right. Because the third one hasn't even come out yet, even though the second one came out literally like almost a decade ago. It feels like I'm exaggerating a little bit. It wasn't a decade ago, um, but but it was actually, you know what? Correction, it was close because it came out in well, Into the Spider Verse came out in yeah 2018, so that's almost a decade ago. The sequel Across the Spider Verse came out in 2023, and the third one, which I think is called Beyond the Spider Verse. Yeah, that's not coming out until next year. So anyway, Nicolas Cage is back playing the character that he. Well, actually, you don't know if he's playing the same character. It's alluded to in the very first episode. I'm assuming it's the same character, but anyway, it's set in the 1920s. I don't know if you've ever read the Spider-Man Noir comic book, but it's Spider-Man, but it's all these characters that you kind of know, or actually you do know, but there's like a twist on them, or there's a difference, and it's more in the vein of like a pulp type hero, or it's even like the Shadow in a way, where it's you're this pulp character who's more detective like. But anyway, highly entertaining. There's two ways to actually watch it. You can watch it in black and white, which is the way that they designed it originally, or you can watch it in true color. So when I watched it, and I've actually do like, because sometimes when there's a show that I really really like, and especially because this is only 8 episodes, I'll rewatch the show. And when I first watched this, I watched half of the episodes in black and white, half of them in color. And now I'm actually kind of going back and doing the reverse of, because there was like first episode I watched in black and white, second one I watched in color. But anyway, I will say I feel like I actually prefer the black and white. Like it just the look of it is cooler. Even the way that the story goes, it gave me a real nostalgic feel. Like it made me it took me back to when my mom used to always watch black and white classic movies and shows on AMC. And this was AMC where it was like American movie classics, where it really was strictly just classic movies. And when we say classic, it's like old movies from like when like from this time period where you didn't have color pictures and it was like black and white. um it just took me back to that time because like my mom used to watch reruns of Perry Mason, which was in black and white, and so I used to watch those shows or the Munsters, which was in black and white, and it took me back to that time. It gave me that really nostalgic feeling of when I was a kid watching stuff with my mom, and that's it. Just I don't know. I think that's part of why I loved it so much because it has really good acting in it, has some drama, it has action, of course, which is great, and it's funny, and just the cast overall, it's a really cool story, man. Like Nicolas Cage is really good as this character. Um, Brandon Gleason, who plays Silvermane, which is like the main bad guy, is really really good in it. Um, Jack Houston, very really good in this. Like there's not a character that I will say I don't particularly care for. I will say like I will say the character that plays which at first I always honestly I was calling him Electro because I just thought it was the Spider Noir version of Electro, but it was actually he later calls himself Megawatt, but he was the only character that I actually kind of found a little annoying, but it wasn't like so annoying that I was like, I hate this character or whatever. Like he was decent, and um, Ling Jun Lee plays Kat Hardy, and she's spectacular. I think she was really great. Lamorne Morris plays Robbie Robertson. He again, just great. Like it's I highly enjoyed Spider Noir. I think if you checked it out on Amazon Prime, you would love it too. I told my parents about it because I wanted them to see it, and especially I wanted to see what their opinion were if it reminded them of the shows that they used to watch, like back in the day, especially when it was black and white. So that's what I've been watching. So I hope you guys check that out. Let me know what you think. And you could always email the show 0 to 100pod@gmail.com. That's the number 0TO100pod @gmail.com. And of course, you can always follow me on all the socials. Simply search at WCW Poet. And make sure you subscribe and share to the 0 to 100 podcast. Again, as always, this is going to be all combined with the part 2 conversation with my friends, the Cowboys observations from OTAs, and also how I feel like the Cowboys have been operating differently. And again, what I've been watching. So thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you guys again next week. And this has been the 0 to 100 podcast. It's been episode 156 overall. A lot to say, but this has been the what have I been watching. Thanks for watching and listening. We out.